Okay, good morning again. We were continuing with our approach of empathy, empathy, tolerance, and compassion towards the weaker sections of society. Now, we had seen one element, empathy, but overall, what actually the empathy, tolerance, and compassion towards weaker section? What is the concept behind it? We have already seen, because our society is pluralistic, and if we again go by the Gandhian principles and the value system which public services should have, that the last and the least should be kept as your priority. When you are a public service, when you are a civil servant, this has to be your priority. If we go by that, we will understand, especially in Indian context. You see, India has a altogether different history. The history of India is laden with colonial hangover. What does it mean? During the British era, when British were ruling us, there was a culture known as Mai Bap culture. And what does that Mai Bap culture mean? The Mai Bap culture says that the Britishers, the British officials, especially the people of British police, people of British army, and the civil services, police, army, and civil services. These were the main arms of oppression. They were involved in oppression of the weaker sections. The whole of the India was under the rule of Britishers, but still there were king, there were sections of people who were allying with the Britishers. Apart from them, everyone else was being subjugated. And people of India had realized that if they have to get something, if they want something from the government, then they will have to be at the mercy of the Britishers. When India got independence, this culture which was portrayed by the British officials, this culture which was there by the British administration, it percolated and remained in the same manner. So, still, if you go to the hinterlands, the villages of our country, you will realize that still people believe that they are at the mercy of the government. They are at the mercy of the government. So, since they have strong affiliation and faith, whom we call our my bab, whom we call our parents, into whom we have lots of faith, into whom we have lots of trust. So, common citizen of the country, Indian citizen, the common citizen of the country, finds itself vulnerable and poor. They are at the mercy, they find themselves at the mercy of administration. They have huge trust and faith in the administration. This is my Bab culture. Since there is a my Bab culture still prevalent in our society, still people believe that their life depends upon the mercy of the government. So, apart from a section of people who have got enlightened, enlightenment happened was there only for a section of people? They felt enlightened. They felt very empowered. Who are these people? Those who are already in the services, like they are either in the executive service, that is, they are part of the government, or they are part of the legislature, executive or legislature. They are part of this. So they feel empowered. Then there are people who are part of this judiciary. They also know that they can govern over both executive and legislature. They can summon even a MLA. They can summon even a IAS or IPS, the judiciary people. They feel empowered. Those who are in the judiciary, part of the judiciary, especially the higher levels of judiciary. Then there are people who are intellectuals. Those who know the rules, laws. Those who know the rules and laws. So they don't feel afraid. If they have to get access, they will use the RTI. Then there are business people. Business community. They are also empowered because they have good connections, network. Their network is very good. They have network with the people in administration. They have network with the people in judiciary. They have good network of being wealthy, rich friends. So their issue gets sorted out. What about the common man? Who are not connected, who are suffering from this problem of information. They have very less information. They are not empowered. Most of them have been at the lowest pedestal of society. These are the people who are at the higher echelons. They reap all the benefits. They are haves. They have everything. These are have-nots. Here comes your SC, ST, OBC, women, people from village area, those who are not very well read, they are not literate enough. These are the weaker sections towards whom there is a greater duty. The duty requires you to be more sensitive towards the need of the sensitive first, and then the responsiveness. Sensitive, responsive towards the need of the weaker sections, towards the last and the least. To the last person who is coming to meet you, to the least person who is the most vulnerable, who is the least powerful. They are your prime audience. They are your prime client if you are a civil servant. That is why we are reading this empathy. We have seen all the dimensions of empathy. What does it mean? Sensitivity and responsiveness towards the weaker section. And what do you get out of it? You are sensitive and responsive towards the weaker section. What do you gain? As we have already seen, trust and loyalty. Trust, loyalty, mutual respect between the administration and the common citizen. Administration citizens, they are having mutual respect towards each other, and that brings a bonhomie, that brings a better governance, good governance, because I have told you that good governance, or even the governance, good governance especially, we'll see in another chapter. But governance involves not only the government, but the citizens, judiciary, legislature, executive, the NGO, social agencies, uh, other watchdogs, media, everything is part of the governance. And when we say good governance, the governance which is smart, we've already seen: simple, moral, accountable, responsive, and transparent. When government is simple, that is, the process of the government is simplified. It is not complex, as is the process of many of the coaching institutes. They have made it very complex. Ethics, integrity, aptitude paper made very complex. Much more complex than jalebi. There is a jalebi which is like this. This is your jalebi. In our parts, there is another jalebi. A jalebi which is like this part, this layer is already there. Then there are other parts, zigzag. This is called Imrti. Imarti. Imarti is much more complex. It is not only jalebi, it is Imarti. What they have made of ethics, integrity, aptitude paper. Psychology also same approach, as I told you while discussing the previous year paper, this year paper, 2023 paper. The approach itself is making it complex just to ensure that they have a ego boost. Make it simplified. Okay, now we'll see the good governance. Good governance requires what? That you have to be responsive. R is responsive here. This is responsive. When you are responsive, then we are being what? We are being empathetic. Because we have seen what is empathy, responsiveness and sensitivity. You are being sensitive and responsive, that is, you are being empathetic. And especially towards whom you have to be empathetic is towards the weaker sections of the society. Now we'll move to our tolerance. What is tolerance? As we were discussing tolerance earlier. Tolerance to whom? Whom are we tolerating? It should not be taken in a negative connotation. It is a positive word. Tolerating the diversity. Tolerating the diversity. Cultural difference. Cultural, linguistic, difference of belief, attitude. As we have already seen, the weaker sections of the society have an altogether different attitude towards each and every subject of the society as compared to those who are rich. You might have heard this during the French Revolution. When the queen was told that the situation is very difficult outside, the situation is very difficult, people are not having their loaf, their chapati, their roti, their bread. People are not having bread to eat. People can't even have a single loaf of bread to eat. They are poor, they are hungry. The queen, being unaware of all the situations which people are going through, she says in a very ignorant manner, why don't people eat cake? If they don't have bread, they can eat cake. She was completely unaware of the situation which is going on. Likewise, if you become a civil servant, especially the top echelons like IAS, IPS, IFS, etc., these services. Apart from these, see, there are some of the services like Armed Forces Headquarters, AFHQ. Here you get the service, but the service is of a lower rank, low grade service, where you become, initially you become a section officer, which is nothing but a clerk. So passing this exam is not only important, it's also important to pass the exam with the flying colors, that is with a very good rank. There are some people who were in this service, they left the service, they have started their coaching. So they keep on telling, and on Google and Wikipedia also it's written that they are IAS. They are not actually IAS, they were in these services. They left because they did not find any merit in the service. So when you are into the top excellence, cream de la cream of the society, you are getting everything. If you just compare with the Maslow's hierarchy, basic needs obviously fulfilled. Basic needs, there is no doubt, it gets fulfilled like anything. You have better food to eat, better place to live, better clothes to wear, all the facilities which can make you feel secure. As far as esteem needs are concerned, they are also fulfilled. People have huge respect for you. Wherever you enter any office, all your subordinates will salute you. Society also keeps you in a very good respect. They gives you a lots of respect, huge respect for you. Now when you are sitting at the top of the society, from there if you see, you may not be aware of the many things which are happening in the lives of the people who are not having these basic ingredients with themselves. So there is the role of tolerating the diversity. I'll give you an example, a very simple example, but it will ensure that you learn ethical competence, not only learn about ethics as a subject, as an information bundle, but as an competence. It will build your ethical competence. I'll give you an example. And as I keep on saying, find examples from your own life, find examples from your surroundings. So one fine morning when I got up in my flat, and the rag picker, Kudewala, the person who takes the garbage, he came, a small boy came. As this I'm saying 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago maybe. So when I came out of my room, this small boy who had come to pick the garbage, he called me, "Uncle, there is very less garbage here, what should I pick?" Now another of my flatmate who was there living in the flat, he heard this conversation and he started laughing that he called you uncle. Now you see, the thing is that this boy is not calling anybody uncle or auntie just to offend the person. This boy does not know anybody, does not know any other word how to address the person. If you meet the children who are studying in a very good school, who have been given good upbringing, they will call others sir, ma'am. This is what their vocabulary is. Or they will call them with other names. They know how to address. So where does the fault lie? Diversity. I was able to gauge firstly, the diversity from which the boy is coming, who is picking the garbage, rag picker or garbage picker. And I could also appreciate the ignorance of this person, another flatmate. Tolerating. The instance could have led to fuming, aggressive verbal duel among two flatmates, or as the case is that whenever we get angry, we always try to release our aggression and frustration towards a weaker person. So I could have scolded the person, scolded the boy, the Kudewala boy. I could have scolded, but the thing is that I was able to appreciate the diversity from which this boy is coming and the ignorance of my flatmate. Just a bit of patience. If you just analyze the situation, you'll be able to save your energy. So this example, this is the same example. Suppose a civil servant, as it was very well depicted, described in one of the Netflix series of Khaki, where a IPS, newly appointed IPS, he goes to the hinterlands of Bihar. A backward state was that point of time. Still, lots of backwardness remains there in the state. So this guy goes to Bihar, posted as an ASP, first posting. He realizes that the way Bihar was projected in movies or in other places, other media junctures, media, movies, in your literature, many of the things are same. Yes, there is backwardness. People speak a particular language. They are having lot many problems in their lives, lot many issues they encounter every day. But he also realizes that most of these people are actually innocent. They don't know how to react in a situation. They are afraid of administration. If you just see any person in the hinterlands, the village area or semi-urban area, they will be very afraid of police. Even in urban areas also, those who are not aware about the duties of the police, they will be very afraid of the police. So likewise, people of Bihar in this series are shown afraid, but they are innocent. They don't know, and they have accepted actually. They have accepted the situation as it is. They are not fighting, as we have learnt, as we have seen in the learned helplessness. They see that there is not going to be any change. Whatever they do, there won't be any change. So they don't fight with the administration. Because this person was able to see the differences in culture from where he is coming, because he is coming from a very good university, probably studied in a foreign university. But still, because of the appreciation of the fact that these people belong to a diverse culture, diverse language, and in a pitiable situation they are, this IPS was able to bring a lot of positive changes in the society. And he was lauded like anything. He was appreciated by the people of Bihar like anything. So civil services gives you a platform if you are working in public interest, if you have empathy and sensitivity, if you can tolerate the diversity, of the person who is coming to meet you, you will be very successful in your life, because you will be able to do your duty as far as public interest is concerned. You will be able to meet the end goals of public interest. Why? Public interest will be met because you will appreciate the situation. You will appreciate that these people have a different language, different culture, different civilization. They have been subjugated by the powerful people in the society. That is why it is the duty of the administration to help them. You will also be appreciate or able to appreciate that there are. So there was some disturbance in the internet. There was some disturbance in the internet, because of that it went away. So what we were talking about, that we as a civil servant are supposed to appreciate the differences and then work towards the public interest largely in a manner which creates very less differences with these actors. And judiciary also, judiciary will also be sitting on top of you. The court will keep on summoning you again and again. And as I understand, going by my experience with the judiciary, the administrative functionaries, judiciary is also bound by certain limitations. Judiciary is actually a second house of the powerful and rich people. But poor people don't have access to judiciary. They cannot access the services of judiciary because they don't have good lawyers. If you have to hire a good lawyer, see, this is the practical aspect. You will have to understand the practicality of the situation. You cannot have access to good lawyers, and because of that, judiciary will also be harassing you, if not directly, indirectly. Or judiciary, you are an IPS. You want to help the common man. You are working in public interest. But judiciary will ask you for the evidence to go against a certain MLA or MP or another officer who is above your rank, or any criminal also. How will this happen? So there is a constant battle which you have to fight. If you tolerate the diversity, especially from the weaker sections, you will be able to at least do some justice, if not a complete justice, because that is not possible in the current scenario. Then you will be able to meet certain goals which are part of your duty as far as public interest is concerned. You will be able to meet the goals of the public interest. So, if you respect the diversity, what will happen? Which is part of tolerance. What will happen? Consequences of respecting the diversity, following the path of tolerance. What will happen? One is your peace and harmony. In society, which is one of the duties of a public servant or duties of civil servants. Civil services, when it was born initially there were no civil services, there was no bureaucracy. As I told you initially in the initial classes, bureaucracy is a concept given by Max Weber, who was a social scientist or a sociologist. Max Weber, he gave the concept of bureaucracy, and civil services is nothing but bureaucracy. So in the in the earlier arena, in the ancient era where bureaucracy was born, it was born in a capitalist environment. in a capitalist environment. And the role of the bureaucracy which was carved out was that of preserving the capitalist money. So the role of bureaucracy was earlier, or the role of the civil servants was to maintain stability in the society, so that there is maintenance of business ecosystem. Business ecosystem should be maintained. It should be stable and it should run and thrive. That was the main concern of the bureaucracy. As it evolved, as the societies progressed, especially talking about the developing countries, because it was born in a German society. This Max Weber is your German sociologist, Germany, German sociologist. Germany largely is a developed country. What about the developing country? In a developing country like ours, developing country like India, the role of the bureaucracy is to maintain peace and harmony in the society, stability in the society, because stability means peace and harmony, and peace and harmony will come if you appreciate the diversity of different cultures. You see this situation recently in Nuh, Haryana, there was communal violence, riots, small, not very large geographical patch. In a small geographical patch, there was a riot between Hindus and Muslims. It has happened in Gujarat, 2002. Now, as an administrator, as an IAS or IPS, when you are in charge of maintaining the public order, law and order in a state, in the district, if you are able to appreciate the diversity, that there can be tajia and there can be procession for Lord Ram. This is done by Muslims. During the Muharram procession, and these religious processions carrying the idol of Lord Ram, Lord Shiva, or Lord Jagannath in Puri, that is also important. So you as an administrator, you will understand the diversity between the different cultures, and you will ensure, as an administrator, you will ensure that if it is a minority dominated area, there is no point carrying out the procession of Lord Rama or Lord Shiva through this area, because it may create unnecessary discomfort for them, or there may be scuffles. Either you take consent from all of them that there will be a procession, you will not create any issue. Likewise, if it is a Hindu dominated area, from that the tajia procession should not be carried out. we have to appreciate the diversity of our society. For example, you are an IPS as a DIG range. Below you, there are SP. This SP is a Hindu. This is a Muslim. You realize that on a particular day, when he is celebrating his own festivals, he needs an off. He should be sent to the vacation. Likewise, you realize that Hindu SP also needs a vacation. If you appreciate the diversity between these two, you will be in a you will be known as a better leader to appreciate the diversity in the workforce also. If you tolerate, if the tolerance is there, you will be able to maintain and appreciate. First is maintenance of public order, peace and harmony in the society. Secondly, to maintain diversity in the workforce also. Because of the tolerance virtue, you are able to maintain diversity in your workforce, you are able to maintain peace and harmony in the society. You should also be sensitive enough to understand that you are not supporting any particular religion, but you are neither subjugating any particular religion as well. And you, as an aspirant who is writing your answer, I must tell you with a word of caution. Suppose, as I found in one of the institutions, a person who is teaching ethics, integrity, aptitude, also having affiliation with psychology optional, whenever he is asked about the communal example of a communal behavior, example of a communal behavior, he'll always give the example of cow vigilantism. Cow vigilantism. Cow vigilantism is a kind of protection done by right wing activists especially belonging to your RSS, BJP. The act of trying to protect the cow. Sometimes it goes over the board and it may become violent. But to say that that is the only communal act done by people in our society is a wrong perception. You will have to balance it off. That is, don't you think, just a practical example, a society, a community where you are living, if it is dominated by Muslims, 90% of Muslims are there, don't you think the Hindus living there are very fearful? After Godhra, when the train was burnt and the after effects of it emerged in form of riots, don't you think wherever there is a Muslim dominance, the Hindus living in those areas must be living in fear? Don't you think that open and shameless display of a particular religion, offering namaz on the railway tracks, is it advisable? You are obstructing the public movement of a train and then offering your namaz here by obstructing the train movement, or on a road, on a busy road, en masse. Is it communal? Yes, it is equally communal. So you have to balance it off. You have to give the example from both sides in softer version. The words which you use are very important and significant here. But to say that only the cow vigilantism is a form of communalism is an ignorant act, should not be done by a budding civil servant like you. You should balance it off. You should see both sides of the coin. The concerned person who is a faculty teaching psychology as well as this ethics integrity paper is doing it because he is he relies more on the memorization, rote memorization of facts, and probably belonging to a particular ideology also, which is not good for the youth of the nation. The youth must note both sides of it. You should have a neutral analysis of each and everything, especially when you are preparing for civil services. So now we'll come to our another virtue is compassion. We have seen what is compassion. Compassion is nothing but empathy, a larger version of empathy, where you are displaying the virtue of empathy for all living and non-living things. Not only living, but non-living things as well. Living things, non-living things, both of them. That is compassion. Practiced by great stalwarts like Lord Buddha, Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, etc. They are practicing what? Compassion. They have empathy. They have kindness in their heart for not only the living things, even for the non-living things. It is the greatest of virtue, because you see, compassion is required when you are sitting at the top of administration, when you have everything in your life. Like the French queen, she had everything in her life, but she could not appreciate the diversity, could not have that compassion and empathy towards the subjects of her state, that is the citizens of her state. She said that why don't they eat cake? You have not to be that ignorant. You have to understand the situation in which a person is. Recently, I saw a video in which the newly appointed IPS, a lady officer in UP district, one of the districts of UP, she came to know that in one of the colonies which is not authorized, an old lady is staying, and this old lady is staying alone in her house. Her children are staying away. Her children are not able to send her money, and because of that she does not have electricity at her home. Now the electricity connection needed some money, which she definitely did not have. She had not seen any bulb or any tube light. She used to stay in the dark. Having empathy and compassion towards her situation, she sent some policemen, police people, both men and women. They ensured that there is a connection, there is light in her house. She became very joyous, and tears rolled down her cheeks when she saw that light is there in my house. What was at the display? Compassion. I have seen not only the officers who are ranked much above in the hierarchy, but even at the level of SI, sub inspector, PI, even below, when they see the poor people on the ground, poor children, one of the Delhi police constable, he distributes blankets, blankets in winter from his own pocket money, from his own salary, to these underprivileged people, those who don't have warm clothes, especially in winters. There are people who in summers, what they will do, on the rooftop they will place a small earthen pot, mitti ka bartan, in which they will put some water, some food to eat nearby for the birds, because in summers it is very difficult for birds nowadays especially to find a water source. So they find water here and they come and quench their thirst. They eat something also. There are people who, after their dinner is over, whatever the food is left over, they go and feed the street dogs. Although it is not a good practice to be done in urban areas, because these street dogs create a lots of menace for small children. Some of the small children, they died even because of the attack by the street dogs. Recently, a very renowned businessman, when he was running away from the street dogs, he hit the road or some very heavy object on the road itself and died while being treated in the hospital because of the hemorrhage, brain hemorrhage, lots of bleeding, internal bleeding. So compassion is displayed here. The higher you go in the as far as resources are concerned, having authority, power, wealth, the higher you reach in the equivalence, the more you should distribute actually. As it is said, when your income increases, don't raise your level of spending, increase the level of distributing. That is, especially in the country like India, where there are so many people. If you look at the survey, of recently done survey of Bihar, 34% of people still living below the poverty line. See, the poverty line itself, the definition of poverty line which we have, is a rather narrow and restricted definition, narrow definition that just says that somehow maintaining the life. Not even 2 square meals are possible in the amount of money which we keep as a benchmark. Despite that, 34% of people, one third of the population, more than one third of the population is below poverty line. In these kind of societies, who can be a knight armor? Who can be a ray of hope at the end of the tunnel? These can be, see, politicians can be, but they are not because of their nexus with the criminal elements. and their falling value system. These can be civil servants, yes, they can definitely do. Business people, many of them are doing through corporate social responsibility, CSR. You know what is CSR? Corporate social responsibility says that the corporate houses, the business people, should keep a part of their earning, maybe 3% to 5% of their earning, for social upliftment. Of the underprivileged sections which are underprivileged. How is this happening? Why is this happening? Because in our society, and if you look at the constitution, what does it say? Sovereign, social, democratic. Social word is here. So socialism is in our threads. Socialism is our constitutional duty because it's a part of the preamble. And the duty towards socialism does not remain with the politicians. It is also the part of the duty of the civil servants. And from there is born compassion. Every citizen of the country actually should adhere to the socialistic aspects. We are not a capitalist country. We are having a mixed economy where businessmen are definitely they can earn money through their entrepreneurial activity. Yes, that is their right. Whatever they earn, whatever the resources they generate, they have full right over the resources. But one is through the corporate social responsibility, which has taken the form of a legal document now. There are corporate houses which are legally bound to follow this, to distribute their wealth towards underprivileged section. Then you must have known in your economy that we follow a progressive taxation. The corporate taxes are very high. The tax on luxury goods are very high. Why is it so? Because those people who can afford this should shed a larger part of their money for the upliftment of the whole society. This is socialism. What does socialism say? This is your pie, this is your cake. Socialism ideally says the cake should be distributed in as many parts as it can be, so as to distribute the resources equally to all the citizens of the country. Each and everyone should get equal part of it. We cannot follow that. It is impractical, and it will be like curtailing the rights of the capitalist people, those who are earning money because of their own skills. Have you seen people begging on the roadside? They are physically fit. They have all the hands, legs, everything is there. They can hear everybody well. They can see everything around. They are not handicapped, but still they are begging. Have you seen people, those who can do some skilled work? I have seen. You will be surprised. Taking the example from the civil service aspirants community itself, there are aspirants who are highly skilled or who could have been highly skilled. They are writing the examinations this last 5-6 attempts. Nobody is there to tell them that you have the capability to earn money for your own life. So what they are doing, they are asking money from their not only home but friends and others. That is their disability. And this disability has come to them because of their negative thinking. If they were of positive thinking approach, they would not be doing so. So, the other person, there is another civil servant who is civil service aspirant, who is not only doing a job but he is preparing. What should we say? Should we keep these two equal? No. Likewise, the capitalist businessmen, they are earning money due to their own skills. So we cannot say that you should part with your money, but we can keep the taxation high so that the tax resources which are generated by the government, resource mobilization, this is resource mobilization, it is done for the welfare of the whole country, welfare of India. We have to take a balanced viewpoint. Now you see, socialism we talked about, that distributing the wealth equally. Now there are certain elements who say no, the wealth should be distributed equally. If you don't do so, we'll adhere to violence. We'll do violence. Who are these people? These are Naxals. These are Naxals. Naxalism. The Naxal people say that you have to either you part with your money or we will snatch it from you. That approach is also not good. So to strike a balance, a fine balance, government has made an system in which the wealth definitely gets distributed towards the have-nots, but the haves and skilled people are free to generate money for their own life. Do you understand this? That's how you need to find a fine blend between socialism and capitalism, a fine blend between violent way, or rather not even addressing and adhering to violence, but addressing the issues by accepting the diversity, by being empathetic and compassionate towards the weaker section, doing a positive discrimination. If you have to discriminate in favor of the weaker section. Why do you think the laws of India are in favor of women? Because, or other weaker sections of the society like SC, ST, OBC, etc. Because this is positive discrimination, this is positive affirmation. We are discriminating, yes, although they are all to be treated equally, but we are discriminating deliberately in favor of these weaker sections who have been subjugated, underprivileged, kept under the wraps, or kept below the benchmark, deliberately or directly or indirectly, because of the design the society functions. Caste hierarchy, you see the caste hierarchy, I told you the other day, because of the caste hierarchy, the girl who wrote answers in my test series was not able to reveal her surname, even not revealing her gender also, because she felt insecure in the first part, revealing her identity, gender identity. Second part, she felt insecure, she felt that she may be discriminated, lower marks can be given because she belongs to a Meena caste. The evaluator will say, okay, this you have got this mark, but you belong to reserve category, so I will give you a lesser marks, because the evaluator may be from the higher caste. You see the kind of prejudice which is there in the minds of people. And since they are prejudiced, they will be behaving in a different manner. You have to appreciate this difference, appreciate this diversity, be empathetic towards them, not taking any regressive action. As it is told, eye for an eye. And it has become a norm now. Eye for an eye has become a norm. Even people like the Israel, going much beyond this eye for eye, they say that if you kill one citizen of our country, we'll kill lakhs of yours country. We'll just finish you as a country. This approach will make everybody blind, eye for an eye approach, will make everybody blind across the globe. What should be done? Rather than that, there is a need to be empathetic, there is a need of compassion, there is a need of Gandhian values. Otherwise, the society will remain polarized and there will be lots of violence, as it happened in Nuh, Haryana. There is no empathetic appreciation of diversity, empathetic appreciation of cultural differences. So follow compassion. Compassion towards people around you in your public life and private life. That will require a lots of maturity from your own side. You as a leader will have to play a defender, protector for your teammates. You are being seen as the leader of all these subordinates. So they will look up to you if you follow this compassion and empathy towards them. They will also look up to you if you follow this compassion and empathy towards citizens of the country. The kind of culture, the kind of value system which you propagate will be ingrained by these subordinates also, because value ingredient starts from the top. The way the top administrators, the way the top leaders behave, that is percolated and goes to the other subordinates and citizens of this country. In the same manner as the values are ingrained and internalized by children, in the same manner, imitation behavior. These are the parents, the value of the parents are internalized by children in the same manner. This also happens. So you have to follow empathy, tolerance and compassion towards the weaker sections especially, and all and sundry generally. If you have to discriminate, if you have to keep an affirmative action, it should be done in favor of the weaker sections. It should be done in favor of the people who have remained subjugated, underprivileged, have-nots of the society. That is the duty of a civil servant. Okay, so apart from this, there is one more important foundational value of a civil servant which is a must, and that is dedication towards public service. Public service oblique public interest. Public service or public interest, both of them are valid here. Dedication to public interest, dedication to public service. What does it mean? When we say dedication, here it means that you have to go beyond the call of the service, going beyond the call of the service. Call of the duty, call of the service. How? Why? Case study, example. All of these examples which I have been giving you, these are kind of case studies. And the case study is nothing. Either they combine all these examples in one case study, or the example itself becomes a case study. So whatever you study, visualize in form of examples. That is the way to solve your case study also. It's as simple as that. It has been made rocket science by sinister design, by the negative design of coachings. So, beyond the call of the duty, what does it mean? Suppose you are placed as a SP in a Naxal affected area. Naxal area. After the whole day's tiring work, as you are newly married, your wife is staying in some other district. She is visiting you. The whole department knows that today, after the tiring work of the day, you want some peace, tranquility, privacy with your family. So you have asked your subordinates not to disturb you, come what may, because you have already done your duty. While you are doing the Netflix and chill in your residence along with your wife, suddenly a phone call comes, an emergency phone call. An informer who is living in the Naxal affected area informs you that today your battalion is going to pass through the forest. An ambush will take place. Ambush, you understand? Ambush, sudden attack, which catches you unawares. Catches you unawares means you are not prepared. You have to take spontaneous action. In most of the ambush cases, people lose their lives. Ambush is going to happen. Your action can be, you are the SP of the district, you will delegate this to the DYSP, Deputy Superintendent of Police, ask her to take care of it. This can be one way. Another way is that you will say, no, she is an immature officer, recently joined. She does not know the area very well. She is not well aware about the explosives used. I am an expert as far as the explosives used are concerned, and I have a very good network as far as finding this ambush and finding these landmines are concerned, which might be there to blow the complete battalion off. You say, what come what may, I may be having my private moments, but I will leave all these things and go and serve the duty for which I have got these stars on my uniform. You will get up, sound a red alert throughout the battalion, throughout the department, prepare everybody, stop the battalion to enter into forest, get the area aerially surveyed. Wherever there are landmines, you will ask them to be neutralized. If there is a gathering of Naxals, which definitely is there around the landmines, you will ensure that they are caught. In this all duty, for the 7 days, you might not return to your home, but still you are doing it, because this is the call of the duty. This is called dedication to public service. Going beyond your call of duty, you are a DC in one of the backward districts of Bihar, Darbhanga. You come to know that the situation of schools in Bihar is very pathetic, especially the government schools. How to correct that? Not only do you take official action, you take the official action of correcting the situation. You call the school inspector to be more vigilant. You call the principal, form a committee for reforms. Going beyond the call of your duty, you put your child in the same school, just to ensure, just to lead from the front, just to give people an example that, see, I have put my child there, and now because you have put your child there, the school authorities will ensure that the schools function in a more efficient, effective manner as it was done earlier, as compared to what it was done earlier. Going beyond the call of your duty, because you are dedicated towards public service, dedicated towards public interest. Take the case of Divya Mittal. When she tried to ensure that the tap water reaches to each and every village of our district, where the tap water has not reached even 75, 80 years down the line since we got independence, 75 years, more than 75 years of independence, no tap water. Pathetic situation. When we have our AC, Wi-Fi, geyser, thermal coolers, everything around us, air purifiers, surrounded by the hi-fi facilities, we are having our SUVs, the security system at the button of a at the click of a button, we are able to sound red alert. When there is fire, the water gushes out in our flats. Such a hi-fi society, there is no water there. Safe drinking water itself is not there. She fought with the agriculture department. She fought with the soil department. She fought with each and every corrupt officer in her department and ministry to ensure that the tap water reaches there. That is the call of the duty, dedication towards public service. Hampering your own personal life, going beyond the call of the duty to ensure that the public interest is made the priority. Not only you doing it, all the subordinates below you also following the same value system. That is dedication towards the public service. Because you have got the office, as I keep saying to most of the aspirants who get trained under me, either it is for the particular subject, psychology, essay or ethics, which the department of the 1000 marks, the responsibility of which goes to me. As I keep telling you, that you should not think of the chair glorifying you. You are sitting on this chair, the chair should not glorify you. You should glorify the chair. The chair will become important only because you are there. Glorify the chair. Don't let the chair glorify you. And that will happen only if you are a humble person, like a DC in Tamil Nadu. What he does is wonderful, remarkable. He has his office. He sweeps his own office. He cleans his own office. He does not use the services of the cleaning staff. He'll reach to the office early and clean the office properly through his own hands, and then only he starts the office. Look at the humility involved here. And there are people in the civil services only, as I told you, AFHQ, Armed Forces Headquarters, lowest ranked service. She is one of the owners of a coaching institute, portraying herself as if she was the topper of her time. Social media, so many PR activities done for her. Some students saying your smile is very good. This is done, this is just a marketing gimmick. It's not that she is not an achiever, definitely talented. But portraying yourself in this manner will give a misleading information to the students. So you should be humble. You should see the call of the duty. And not only the call of the duty, go beyond the call of your duty to serve the public, because your primary duty, as we have been seeing since the first ethics, integrity, aptitude class, that your call of the duty is public interest, nothing else. And to serve the public interest, there are so many things you have to follow, like constitution, the laws, the judiciary, the particular culture, language, the diversity, Empathy, compassion, tolerance towards the weaker sections, all is to be followed. It's a very tough journey. Let me tell you very clearly. If you are willing to serve the country, it's definitely tough journey. And there are thousands of 5,000 strong cadre of IAS. Nobody knows. A few of them only are known. Nobody knows all of them for sure. And those who have the tendency to get into limelight, like Abhishek Singh, like Deepak Rawat, earlier B. Chandrakala, all of them are facing great difficulties. Without being famous, remaining behind the curtain, remaining neutral, objective, transparent in your conduct, you will have to serve the country, serve the public interest. Ingrain these values inside you. In a situation also, objectively analyze it. Then take a decision which is unbiased, having the element of empathy towards a weaker section, because you are sitting at the seat of justice. You cannot ignore it. You are at the top of the seat of justice. You cannot be biased. You cannot discriminate against one section or the other. If you have to discriminate, if you have to go for the affirmation, go for the positive affirmation towards the weaker section. Weaker section. This is how it operates. We will see briefly the dedication to public service dimension again in our next class, that will be tomorrow. Case studies, few of the case studies that we'll see, and we'll also see, some of you were asking about how to put the case studies angle, like recently a father who brought her daughter back from her marriage because she was being harassed there, how to bring it in the case studies. Also, when we are quoting great stalwarts like APJ Abdul Kalam, whether we should give his name or not, how should we integrate his ideas into our essay and ethics both paper, that also I will discuss apart from the classes, apart from the class content. So it will get covered, and then we'll move to the next chapter. So in this week only, or maybe with the start of the next week, we'll be able to cover, or end of the next week, we'll be able to cover most of the theory aspects. Then we'll have another test integrating all these things in the test paper. 2 more tests will be there for the theory portion. Then we'll jump into the case studies. Mind it, when we jump into the case studies, there also will be rehearsing our theory portion through the case study. How to take the right decisions in the case study, which is very simple. I'll tell you the approach, how it is done. Then the practice should be from your side, from your angle. As I say in the psychology generally, don't do the pure and basic research, do the applied research. Pure and basic research is done by the theorist. You have to be an applied person because you have to become a civil servant, that too a smart civil servant. Later on, when you become to IAS or get into any other service, when you reach to the academy and when you reach to the field, people should be able to say that you have studied at the right place. That is the main motto for which I conduct my classes, that you should not only be a civil servant, you should be a smart civil servant, you should be an ethically competent civil servant. That is the main approach. Don't only say things, walk the talk. That is very important. So with this I will end today's session. We'll resume the session again and probably we won't have any disturbances as far as this internet is concerned from tomorrow onwards. So 10:30 will be the class time. We'll conduct the classes from 10:30 to 12 o'clock. Most of the portions left here in this chapter will be covered. We'll start with the new chapter, and then most probably we'll be able to cover all the aspects of the theory portion by the end of the next week. That is, today is your 8th. So the next week we'll go to third week of November. If you are able to finish everything as far as theory part is concerned in November itself, in December we'll have a very good practice as far as case studies are concerned. And remember, solving 500,000 case studies is not important. You should have ample case studies from all the parts of the theories. This is one thing. Then you should do as much practice as you can with the case studies. You should ensure that your optional, the essay and ethics, all these are very well covered before you jump into your prelims preparation, which is also again very dicey and it has become very competitive nowadays. Then after acing your prelims papers confidently, then you should revise these optional essay and ethics thing. And as far as GS part is concerned, focus more on your apart from the GS paper 4, focus more on GS paper 2 and 3. As far as GS paper 1 is concerned, there is a huge vast syllabus which cannot be conquered very easily. You should know important aspects which you already cover in your prelims. So there is no need to go to the extra mile as far as GS paper 1 is concerned. Paper 2 and 3 of the GS in mains is largely covered by the current affairs, which is definitely given to you in form of compilations, and you are well aware of the events. Just practice answer writings. In the GS, especially GS paper 1, 2 and 3, you need not do so many answer writing practice, but you should just understand what are the requirements for different sections, and then leave it there. Focus more on your optional essay and ethics integrity aptitude paper, especially the conceptual understanding and the applied part. You will be able to clear the examination much more easily as compared to what it is made out. Thank you very much. Have a good day. We'll meet you tomorrow, 10:30.